This lawyer said, listen, there's no way that you do these things, handle this in the way that I'm saying, and I can't get you a bond. I wonder if the lawyer was truthful with Diddy and letting him know that, yeah, I was updating the federal government about your whereabouts and your moving around, but it was one-way communication. And people say, yo, she made some bad decisions, bro. She put all her eggs in that Diddy basket. I say this to you people. I agree with you, it was a mistake. Now, if she was coming from Alamo Records where people really didn't believe in her, that's one thing. She left P and Coach. In the same breath, I say, yo, it's Young Miami. She's a girl with big dreams, big aspirations. This game has been working for her. Young Miami was a young girl at this time. And so, you know, I tend to give her grace with the Diddy situation because there's no way you saw Diddy fall.
California, we wasn't able to fly to California to do a feature. At the time, we were charging $15,000 for a feature and $10,000 for a video appearance. It's $25,000. We wasn't able to do that at the time.
Why was your client not able to do that?
Because my client didn't move without his management.
Well, that sounds like that's a choice for him that he made more than so.
That's a choice of the contract.
So you're saying
him being comfortable to move.
So which is it? Because you said it's a choice of him, and then you said it's a part of the contract. So is he not allowed to make an appearance unless you're present?
That's what artists do with a manager, a real management.
You're saying he lost out on feature money of him making appearances on videos and what else?
Videos, appearance, features, and a couple shows appearance, and the whole world wasn't shut down for a whole year. So throughout the year of 2020, it was quite a bit of shows that we missed out on, and quite a bit of appearance that we missed out on, quite a bit of features appearance we missed out on, promotion where we go to different shops and promote. At the time when I'm down, his whole livelihood was down. It was no one to come and sign the contracts after.
You mentioned that you were in a walker, correct?
Yes.
Can you kind of walk us through the timeline, because you said you had a hip replacement? So the injury, right. The injury happened in January, correct?
Right.
And your hip was popped back into place, correct?
Yes.
How many weeks of treatment did you go through?
I want to say at least 2 to 5 months.
Well, would you
take?
That's a big gap. You said 2 to 5 months of therapy.
Stupid games, you get stupid prizes. Now Yellow Beezy in there, know $1 million on the line, and it's a in there talking about he had a hip replacement. All you can do is sit over there like this, with the 2 little braids hanging out right there.
Now niggas want to loon me to death. Salute, Loon.
Yeah, exactly.
It's my man, Loon.
That's my man, too.
Both Loons. Old Loon, new Loon, both Loons.
Okay.
Yeah,
All ops must know it's up there and it's stuck there, nigga.
When it's up there, man, it's stuck there.
Shut up.
This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the fantasy sports platform that's changing the game for people like us. With Prize Picks, you can test your knowledge with picking over and under for your favorite player stats across a wide variety of sports. Think football, baseball, basketball, and beyond. So why wait? Jump into Prize Picks right now and bring more excitement to game day. Whether you're cheering from the stands or the couch, Prize Picks adds that extra layer of fun for sports excitement. Again, my slogan, why would you put something on the game when you could put something on the name? Let's get into those picks and start winning with Prize Picks today. IUTP code. Let's get back to the show.
Average, now she priceless. Homework 1,000. I got niggas flying on jets out public housing.
Yo, welcome to What's Up There podcast. I am your active and attractive host for another episode, Uno Not Dos. You must never have seen the game up close. Listen, it's another episode of the fastest growing podcast on the market. I want to thank each and every person that ever has clicked the video. Welcome to the people that's returning listeners, the new listeners, the people that come here, that the algorithm got you here. However you here, I want to thank you for being here, and hopefully you return and share and put other people on. We got a lot to talk about today. Before we do that, I do want to get to some housekeeping things, Come to patreon.com. It's Up There Podcast. That's where the vibes are. That's how you support me along this journey. If you've been watching me for a while, you've always heard me say, listen, your job as a content creator is to do what? Look at your viewers, separate your viewers from your customers, and serve your customers at a higher level. I'll teach you guys about that top of the year. I do have a book coming out and some other things coming out that can probably help a lot of people that's starting from scratch and don't know how or what to do. It'll definitely point them in the right direction. Again, I am the only force in this game without a co-host and someone that came in without any prior industry background or fan base. So I wasn't able to drag a fan base, say, over from rap, over from NBA, NFL, over from ESPN, you dig, over from just being in the industry. You know, I came from outside of the industry and was able to work my way in. And so I think that it's paramount to understand the level of accuracy it takes to do that, the level of precision and persistence. And so I think people will enjoy and be very grateful, because if I had somebody like me in position, I would want them to pass down how they did something so monumental that probably won't be done again. All right. So patreon.com is Up There Podcast. We'll have things updating for y'all periodically there. Also, I want to speak to the Dr. Umar and Big Loon live event that's coming up. That date is to be announced at this point. We did have a date of October the 8th. The production team had some issue there. Me and Dr. Umar are trying to iron through the specifics. We may just move it to October the 14th, but I will let you guys know as soon as that business is complete and took care of. And again, thank you guys for being patient with us. Man, top of the year, I'm just so excited about what we're going to do, you know, next quarter and take the business. Support. Thank you guys for supporting. Merch coming. Some merch is out. We have an exclusive line that is currently out, and we're trying our best to see how we want to roll that out. And so if people out there have any plans, if you're a creative director that has a real background, we're looking for people to fill those positions. Just to kind of punch into, you know, what's going on in the culture, I gave you guys maybe an hour and 15 minutes speaking about Diddy the last episode. I really don't want to speak about it again. There's been no real updates for people unaware. Sean Diddy Combs was arrested on several charges by the federal government, the Southern District of New York. He has been denied bond twice. He went up for bond. They told him no. A lot of commentary out there, man. And unfortunately, you know, me coming up, you know, in the inner cities of America, I have expertise on seeing some of my counterparts or loved ones or people that I respect or know go through things with the federal government. So I kind of understand how that works. It seems like everyone that does commentary doesn't understand that the federal government play is not only to convict Sean Diddy Combs, but also to seize all of those assets that probably end up being $200-300 million worth of stuff, right? If they just bare minimum get all the houses that they raided, get that jet, and whatever facilities that they believe he orchestrated freak offs in some sort of plea deal, that's a literally $200-300 million deal for the federal government. I definitely see that being the reason why they moved in, as he was offloading the assets. You know, a lot of people ask, why would they move in now? Why did they do that? He was about to turn himself in Thursday. As you hear the lawyer front facing and letting people know, listen, they didn't want him to turn himself in. This goes against everything that the Southern District of New York is portraying Diddy as, right? Again, I think it's always interesting, as I said last episode, if you don't have any money, they use that against you, right? He doesn't have any money. He doesn't have anywhere to go. He's going to a impoverished area. Gang and crime is up in the area that he's going to. We don't believe he's safe and should be out. If you have too much money, now he's powerful. I believe the lawyer, and I hate to say this, but it almost feels like the lawyer is working with the government. Again, because under the lawyer's recommendation, Diddy had grounded his jet, turned in his passports, all under the guise of receiving a bond. I truly believe that his lawyer said, listen, there's no way that you do these things, handle this in the way that I'm saying, and I can't get you a bond. I wonder if the lawyer was truthful with Diddy and letting him know that, yeah, I was updating the federal government about your whereabouts and your moving around, but it was one-way communication. They didn't confirm that they ever received it. They never sent anything back and said, thank you, we'll arrange for him to come in. They never said anything. And so if I'm your lawyer, that tells me that it seems like they may try to fight the bond thing, right? These indicators should have went off for the lawyer to make him know that, yo, they're not participating in this whole little song and dance that you put together to try to kind of get ahead of making sure that he gets a bond. In last episode, you heard me speak to, yo, they're gonna expose Cassie. I believe a lot of different people get exposed along the way. When I speak about exposed, what I'm saying is Diddy's only retort to these charges is gonna be, listen, I'm not the freak. She's really the freak. It's only one victim so far, right? There's a lot of other civil cases going on and maybe a lot of witnesses that may have said he did that to her. I may have saw him do something to Kim Porter. I seen her do this to him. You know, these are witnesses. In regards to victims, if the case 4 months from now still looks the way that it looks right now in 2024, there's only one victim. And so to discredit that victim, you got to make her look like the freak and the slut. And so unfortunately, the things that she enjoyed and some of the things that she may have requested while in that mode or while in that lifestyle, I believe comes to the light. Not only that, I believe at some point, pictures, videos, names, locations get released of other high profile people, other celebrities that's been involved. And I'm not talking some blurry thing. I'm saying either in court or outside of court, you may get a clear shot of a female artist getting smashed or given fellatio, right? This may get graphic for some of the people that's trying to maintain a clear-cut brand in the eyes of the public. And so now looking back at this, right, I saw Twitter and other people speaking to the Act Bad video, and I'm not even going to put it on the screen, but if you go back and look at the Act Bad video, this is when, in my opinion, he took Young Miami, looked at some analytics. He figured out that the City Girls, one of their good performing songs was this record. So he made that kind of record, but he surrounded around his products, got a lot of product placement in it, got her over here rapping it. But the video, he was naked, he was doing all kind of shit, and he was recording. Those that watch me know that I'm someone that always, I wouldn't say I defend Young Miami, but I don't hop on the train of trying to drag her through the mud. I don't find interest in doing that. And also some about pretty women. It just, I don't feel as though I ain't got that kind of energy to be just rough on a pretty woman or a woman in general. Like, you know, for me and a woman to get in a true argument or something, she has to put herself in a position to cut those switches off for me. But if I look at you and I see a woman soft and nice and right, it's gonna be rough for me to just go hard on you and just tear you down. So when they go at Young Miami, although I think she made some unfortunate decisions when you look back at it, I wonder, is she gonna be saw either in court or outside of court in some compromising situations? Because she's of the last batch of women that Diddy has been dealing with. You know what I'm saying? I think whoever his last 5 or 6 girlfriends are, I wonder will that come into play. You know, when we look at Young Miami and people say, yo, she made some bad decisions, bro. She put all her eggs in that Diddy basket. I say this to you people. I agree with you, it was a mistake. Now, if she was coming from Alamo Records where people really didn't believe in her, that's one thing. She left P and Coach She left an operation that they built over there for her that was lucrative for not only her, but for them, as well as all the investment that they had put in to kind of get that show on the road. And so you leave two of the biggest music execs of this era and go over here to Diddy, who's not even doing music. Now, Diddy's lifestyle convinces you that it's about product, branding, marketing, things like that. And so you turn your artist thing off. And so I blame Young Miami because of the tree she left from. You know what I'm saying? Had it been another tree over there, maybe I don't know. But you don't leave them to go there. These dudes here is just doing business. They gonna try to put you in the right rooms, right positions. You dig what I'm saying? They got wise families, whatever they doing. They ain't even got to go that route with you. So they just doing business with you. Diddy, on the other hand, wants to do songs with you, but y'all low-key dating, and you know what I'm saying? It's mixing. It's mixing the water with the oil. It's mixing the water with the oil. But in the same breath, I say, yo, it's Young Miami. She's a girl with big dreams, big aspirations. This game has been working for her. Young Miami was a young girl at this time. And so, you know, I tend to give her grace with the Diddy situation because there's no way you saw Diddy falling. And look, listen, he's failed. There's no more speculation about, is he going to fall? Will he bounce back? He is going against the feds out of New York about some charges that, in my opinion, the lines are so blurred that it's going to be hard to prove the innocence if they have so many witnesses. But here's the other thing. Young Miami couldn't have forecasted that Diddy was going down. So put yourself in Young Miami's shoes. You're a young girl, couple kids, rap career going, you and your friend, y'all are booming. People starting to like you. Not only are people enjoying your music, they're starting to talk like you guys. They're starting to want to dress like you guys. They're starting to enjoy your lives, your just conversations. And so you get around Diddy. You run into this billionaire nigga. It's a different level of pimping right here. And when I say pimping, I mean Diddy was living a different lifestyle. The lifestyle Diddy was living, especially if I'm freaking with you. I always tell people that most men have categories of their lives, and you fit inside of one of those categories, and you unlock certain perks and benefits, attributes as you work your way into certain categories of someone's life. And so I believe for Diddy and this young lady, he took a liking to her and he exposed her to things that kind of drew her in closer. I don't think she had any ability to see that it'll crash and burn. I think now she's living with regret. I think now Young Miami is uncertain as to what may come out, what may be known. We hear Twitter bring up some of the old conversation where she told a girl that, yo, Diddy had you on your knees or whatever, doing whatever. I think in those moments, they just is at an all-time high. They living good. And let me address this too, and then we're going to move on because Diddy ain't even on the docket today. Let me address the IV thing. It's unfortunate, right, because they are attaching the IV thing to the freak off. And while I understand the correlation, I don't think it's causation. I believe that you can also see that when you see not only Diddy, but you see his mom getting one. I think under no circumstances us in black culture need to flirt with the idea that that kind of behavior is taking place, right? So me as a man with morals, I can't even flirt with that. So when I see moms getting the IV, what that says to me is, I'm going to be honest, if you live a luxury lifestyle and you getting a little money and you do party or you exhausted, sometimes you get IVs, man. Like I know guys that's in our culture that got businesses where that's the business, replenish. And they tie that in with yoga and different things, right? And so I don't think that the freak off and the IV drip for hydration is a direct causation. Again, I do recognize the correlation, but I don't think every time you see an IV and a billionaire, it's because a freak off just took place. Again, there's a different lifestyle. Every time you see a massage in women, that doesn't mean a freak off just took place. Or maybe it does. Again, I don't know the level that Diddy is going with this, but I guess we'll find out. I want to talk about Rainwater and Yellow Beezy. For those who do not know who those names are, because we are niching down when we speak about this, we usually deal with the top of hip hop, the top stories. But we're going to start niching down some and dealing with some of these other things and trying to shed light or just give our content perspective, reaction on some of the things that's going on in culture. So today, our first thing we're going to talk about is Rainwater and Yellow Beezy. For people who do not know, Yellow Beezy is a rapper from Dallas, Texas. He is best known for his hit, That's On Me, Baby. So the song went crazy. Several times platinum. I would say probably 1 or 2 times platinum at least. Part of the streaming era. Went on a crazy run. He then ran into a rapper named Mo3 out of Texas. Mo3 was represented by Rainwater. Rainwater was his manager. Long story short, Mo3 ended up passing away, dying by gun violence. Yellow Beezy name has been brought up in so many different conversations about it. And although Mo3 has passed on, the tension from their relationship had lived on. And so him and Rainwater had kind of inherited the position as being, if you ask him, the target of Yellow Beezy after Mo3's passing away. And so they ran into each other at V Live. When they confronted each other, words were exchanged. The next thing you know, Mo3's manager Rainwater was running. He ran into the middle of the street where rapper Yellow Beezy caught him, hit him with a 14-piece combo. You understand me? And when he hit him with the 14-piece combo, Rainwater fell in the middle of the street. Rainwater tried to get back up and he collapsed. After this, Rainwater files lawsuit. Fast forward. Rainwater files this lawsuit. We are now in the closing process of this lawsuit, and these guys are testifying in front of a judge as to the compensation that needs to be considered after a brutal beating was put on Mo3's manager Rainwater because he couldn't watch his mouth online. Let's pay attention to this video. I just want to watch some of the grilling done by Yellow Beezy's lawyer, and we're going to react to it. Let's pay attention.
If I recall correctly, you said you grew up in a private school and grew up in the church, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So with that being said, you understand the importance that you swore your oath to tell the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you understand the penalty if that's violated, correct?
Right.
All right. With that being said, we'll go forward. You labeled yourself, and if I'm mislabeling you, please let me know. You were kind of like the brains behind the operation, correct?
Music.
When you say music, did you do any executive producing or producing on any of the songs?
No, after he passed away.
All right, could you stop just for 1 second? Can we increase the volume?
Counsel is needed here. Witness.
Yeah. Is there a way for the witness? I know that the mic is not on for Mr. Rainwater. Is there a way to get the mic on him? Because in the Zoom it's showing it's mute, and we're having his voice is muted, and there's nothing we can do on our end.
And you did nothing to promote violence, is what you're saying as well.
No, sir. I was a manager. A manager cannot promote violence.
Well, would you say you have a large following on social media?
Yes.
Is a lot of what you do promotion-wise and marketing-wise done on social media?
It's a hand in hand. I do a lot of promotion in person. I do more promotion in person, and I have a large social media where I basically do a lot of comedy on social media.
Just comedy?
Yeah, basic comedy, little rap, but it's nothing to promote heavy promotion of music. If I'm promoting music heavily, I'm going in the streets.
So you're going
in the clubs, and the businesses, and
well, sometimes some people say that those lines get blurred between the clubs and the streets because a lot of street people are in the clubs.
Yeah, I've never been a street person, so I can't tell you what the streets is about.
You've never been a street person?
No.
And never hung around street people?
I manage street people.
So that makes it a close affiliation for you, does it not? So you're at that point, you're mixed in with street.
Objection, vague, argumentative, and I'd ask for a definition of what you're referring to in terms of street.
Objection sustained. First of all, if you're going to continue with this line of questioning, I need for you to provide a definition of what you mean by street people.
So your main source of a social media platform, you would say, is Instagram,
TikTok, bingo.
TikTok, and Bingo. They're bigger than Instagram for you.
Yeah.
How many followers do you have or connections?
Engagement. It's all about engagement. I have a lot of engagement on other platforms than Instagram.
And what are these other engagements?
Just higher engagement. At the time when
Objection, relevance. Where are we going with this?
Mr. Bias, we're trying to finish things up, and I'm not quite sure. My jury knowing how many Instagram followers or bingo, which I've never heard of, is actually going to be relevant to help my jurors determine whether or not there's liability on the part of your client and what money damages. It's interesting, but we really don't have time for just interesting. It's got to be relevant, please.
Oh, yes, ma'am. I'm not trying to do it just interesting. It's everything I'm is relevant, Your Honor.
I have a hard time tying this all in.
I understand, Your Honor.
So where are we going with this line of questioning? Why do we need to know how many, except I'm jealous, he does have more Instagram followers than I do. But, besides that, where are we going with this?
Your Honor, this gentleman uses his social media following to inflame situations, cause and stir situations, fights, and conflict throughout.
Okay, that's an editorial comment, but unless you have proof that that's what happened on the night of the incident, we can't jump that hurdle.
I understand, Your Honor.
All right, with that in mind, please
Okay.
proceed.
Sir, you mentioned that a large amount of the money you lost was income right after this incident, correct?
2020.
Yeah. And what month was that?
From February all the way to November.
Yeah. Wasn't that the same time of the COVID shutdown?
Yes.
Okay. So weren't all venues and social gatherings shut down for that anyway?
It was, but Mo3 was a different type of artist that we did a lot of appearances to videos, studio times. We did all his interviews. A lot of stuff was just completely shut down to where he couldn't move around. And
Specific intent to
so
chase.
we follow the rules of the United States about the venues, but we wasn't getting a lot of money out venue money at the time.
I don't believe anyone was getting venue money at that time because social gatherings of that nature were shut down.
Exactly in May throughout the year it was back open, but our money came different where we have a lot of features and video appearance. So we wasn't getting a lot of money at that.
So how are you not getting a lot of money at that time if most things venue-wise were shut down?
We're not talking about venue. We're talking about venue. We're talking about videos and features. So if an artist get a feature, and breaking down, if an artist get a feature, we have to fly to California. We weren't able to fly to California to do a feature. At the time, we were charging $15,000 for a feature and $10,000 for a video appearance. It's $25,000. We wasn't able to do that at the time.
Why was your client not able to do that?
Because my client didn't move without his management.
Well, that sounds like that's a choice for him that he made more than so.
That's a choice of the contract.
So you're saying
him being comfortable to move.
So which is it? Because you said it's a choice of him, and then you said it's a part of the contract. So is he not allowed to make an appearance unless you're present?
That's what artists do with a manager, a real management.
I've represented artists before, and unfortunately, I've had several, and I've never had a situation where they will not go unless their manager goes.
Testifying.
Objection to sidebar.
So
And counsel testifying.
Yeah, I need half questions, please.
yes, Your Honor. So can you please explain to the jury how your contract is the type of contract that your client will not go, and he miraculously has some special powers that he's allowed to do stuff that the rest of the nation and the world are not doing at that time, circulating around.
Objection, relevance.
Sustain.
You're saying he lost out on feature money of him making appearances on videos and what else?
Videos appearance, features, and a couple shows appearance, and the whole world wasn't shut down for a whole year. So throughout the year 2020, it was quite a bit of shows that we missed out on, and quite a bit of appearance that we missed out on, quite a bit of features appearance we missed out on, promotion where we go to different shops and promote. At the time when I was down, his whole livelihood was down. It was no one to come and sign the contracts after we appeared at the different events that we was obligated to go to. So
you don't have attorneys to do the contracts for y'all?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained. Please move on, counselor.
Yes, Your Honor. You mentioned that you were in a walker, correct?
yes.
Can you kind of walk us through the timeline, because you said you had a hip replacement? So if the injury the injury happened in January, correct?
Right.
And your hip was popped back into place, correct?
Yes.
How many weeks of treatment did you go through?
Checking with the answer.
I want to say at least 2 to 5 months.
Well,
Give or take.
That's a big gap. You said 2 to 5 months of therapy?
Yes, it might have been 2 to 4 months.
When did you start therapy?
Hey, you see Yellow Bees over there? He ain't even paying attention. Yellow Bees over there like that right there. I don't even want to look at this nigga. That nigga trying to hit me for $2 million. Up at talking about he had a hip replacement and he went home the same day. Boy, Rainwater know he acting up there, boy. But that's what you street niggas get caught in the trick bag, man. That's why I hope I don't never smack one of you dudes, cause I know y'all playing them type games. You know what I'm saying? Somebody get up on you, do something to you, and you go run and tell the people, man. You know what I mean? You the one started it. I'm trying to handle business. That's why I don't have no problem. That's why I'm so glad that I handle high level business. There ain't never been a complaint about me at the event. I've always been early. I've always be the last person to leave. Make sure the logistics is right. The production is right. Man, I'm talking about I'm top quality. I'm one of them people, man, and I just hate that. Play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. Now Yellow Bees in there know $1 million on the line, and it's a nigga in there talking about he had a hip replacement. All you can do is sit over there like this. With the 2 little braids hanging out right there. Yeah. Yeah, I'm mad in the month. I'm trying not to show y'all. I'm mad in the month for he trying to get $1 million out of me for COVID. Picture what he telling them folks now. He telling them folks, man, because we got into it, I missed $1 million in COVID. Oh, you think I'm capping? Watch this. I'm finna show you. For those unaware, I'm about to roll the tape of the closing arguments. The closing arguments, and I don't know where this was streamed at. Shout out to this YouTuber. The closing arguments, you gonna hear the lawyer lay out, man. The boy want over $1 million about this. Pay attention.
2020. In the parking lot of V Live Dallas at the intersection of Empire Central and Stemmons, Mr. Conway chased Mr. Rainwater out of the parking lot, through the street into the intersection, pushing him, punching him, kicking him, stomping him, leaving Mr. Rainwater handicapped and incapacitated in the middle of an intersection for which he remained for over 5 minutes. Rarely do I come across a case that is this simple and this compelling.
Man, I didn't know they beat Rainwater like that. To where he fell. Did he collapse because of the camera, or did he collapse because he really got the dog shit beat out of him? Man, they chased that boy and did him bad, bro. Look at that shit.
Incapacitated in the middle, punching him in the parking lot, through the street into the intersection.
Man, he almost got hit by a car, man. Man, they beating him so bad, they about to beat him into he getting hit by a car.
Pushing him, punching him, kicking him, stomping him, leaving Mr. Rainwater handicapped and incapacitated in the middle of an intersection for which he remained for over 5 minutes. Rarely do I come across a case that is this simple and this compelling. Now, we're at the end of the road here, and the court has provided us with a charge and with instructions. And ultimately, what is the roadmap of what we are addressing here? First, has to do with liability, and to make crystal clear that chasing another human being into a roadway and viciously beating them is a violation of the law. Was that act committed? And was that committed with a specific intent to harm Mr. Rainwater? The second part that we're looking at is the law entitles fair and reasonable compensation for for the harms inflicted as a result of a brutal beating and an assault. Now, first is liability. That's step one. Step two is damages. How are we able to make the individual who was harmed by these egregious acts whole? Now, third, which doesn't happen in all cases. There are very specific cases that this happens, where juries in this country impose monetary penalties for actions for reckless or malicious conduct that shows disregard for fellow human beings to deter and condemn such conduct. As the court indicated in its charge, those are not compensatory. Those are not related to it was done recklessly. And if you have any questions with regards to his intent, we have an individual chasing somebody in fear for his life, running after somebody into the middle of an intersection and landing blows. Bodily injury was caused, it was done intentionally, it was done knowingly, and it was done recklessly. And if you have any questions with regards to his intent, listen to Mr. Conway. I beat him up. I beat him up. He ran from me, and he caught him. The liability in this case is as clear as day. Answer, did Marquise DeAndre Conway commit an assault against Brandon Rainwater? The answer is yes. And I posit to you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that the amount of $1,000, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we've put numbers up here for past pain and suffering. Now, it's no easy task to assign a dollar number to somebody's pain, but it's something we must do. And I posit to you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that the amount of $1,000 a day for the first year where the impacts of this incident were most acute and most severe is justified. And that amount would be $365,000. Now, while there was this pain and mental anguish and physical pain is in stages, admittedly. The most acute is not the same as going forward. Now, going forward, the pain that remains with him, I posit $1,000 a month, which would be between January the 26th, 2021 to today, in an amount of $43,000. And I ask you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, my recommended number for physical pain and suffering and mental anguish sustained in the past of $408,000. Now, physical pain and mental anguish, and in reasonable probability, Brandon Rainwater will sustain in the future. Now, this is medical evidence. And we heard from Dr. Merritt, who did a full evaluation of Mr. Rainwater, reviewed all of his medical records, reviewed Dr. Rainwater in a clinical setting, and opined that in all reasonable medical probability, the physical pain and mental anguish of Mr. Rainwater will continue on in the future. It may ebb and flow, but it will still be there and will remain with him for the remainder of his life. Now we have the expectation of life. And I hope Mr. Rainwater stays with us for a lot longer time. But the amount for the CDC charts, the age of 35, is that Mr. Rainwater would be with us for another 36 years. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the way that our system works is that if there is a further complication, you don't get to come back here. This is the only day and the only time for which any compensation for the harms committed by Mr. Conway against Mr. Rainwater will be considered. As such, we will have to look into the future, and the way that we do that is with medical evidence and with medical review. The ongoing issues that Mr. Rainwater showed in Mr. Rainwater's medical evaluation with Dr. Merritt and through his testimony is that he continues to have pain and stiffness in the hip. He has a permanent limp, pain and stiffness in the back, and suffers from impaired balance and mobilities. Now, looking at the testimony of Dr. Merritt, there were, in all reasonable medical probability, a second total hip replacement will be required. There will be accelerated disgeneration due to the trauma that was caused, post-traumatic arthritis, and he will continue having decreased balance and mobility. And when we're calculating the future cost of these items, this goes through once again for 36 years. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we posit to you $500 a month as a fair and reasonable sum to compensate and take care of Mr. Rainwater and compensate him for having to deal with these issues that he didn't ask for and that were inflicted upon him by Mr. Conway. And we ask that you put an amount of $216,000 into that answer. Now, the next two that we'll address are physical impairment. If physical pain and mental anguish deals with feeling, that's one damage. Physical impairment deals with function.
Yo, I don't want to bore everybody with this entire thing, so you guys can pause the screen and you can kind of see where all the numbers are adding up to. But I think this video part is important. Let's look.
lying in the road. He was callous and he was malicious.
I've never in my life ever seen Yellow that ass run that fast. Ever in my life, he was determined. He had a passion. He was determined.
He was determined. He had a passion. In the days after the incident, there was gloating from Mr. Conway and from Mr. Conway's baby mama, how proud they were of what they had just done, how proud they were. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, there was specific intent, and there was a specific intent to cause harm. Now, less than a month after this incident, Mr. Conway's hit song, Keep It in the Streets, is released. Keep it in the streets.
I'm now about to play Yellow Beezy's lawyer closing arguments because I want you to see how he attacks the credibility of Rainwater. And then we'll move on. This is just updating you guys who care about how some of these beefs with rappers play out even years after the rapper has even passed away. Also, how you will be held liable for putting your hands on people if you're worth some money. Pay attention.
Work with several juries. And through those years, I've learned that juries are very intelligent in what they're able to decipher and see through. Working through this trial, you've heard a lot of extra fluff and other things to try to paint my client in a picture of a horrible person. And the plaintiff in this situation, with the help of his attorney, basically throwing softball pitches, is going to show himself to be just this ideal Cub Scout that just is the poor victim of just a random act. I know each of y'all sitting there is smart enough to see through the facade of the real situation that went on. Going through the testimony of Mr. Rainwater, you could see we're dealing with someone that, of course, when he was asked certain questions about when did you start, where did you move, where did you grow up, those questions come easy. They're answered easily. As time moves on and more direct situational questions are asked to pinpoint things, you notice his answering changes. His demeanor changes, his stuttering, his vagueness on things. I'm sure many of y'all in this jury have children. And you know, when, for instance, something breaks in the house, you go ask your kids, hey kids, what happened? Who broke this? 9 times out of 10, the kids will be like, oh, mom, dad, I don't know, it just happened. But the more you grill them, hey, where were you at when this fell? What were you doing? You get the, those are the same questions and answers you got from Mr. Rainwater. His answers, to contradict what his attorney said in his closing, were not consistent. They were vague. I believe even this, you'll see a person filing a lawsuit that is not being honest with y'all as a jury, that is not being upfront with you on the full story of the scope of what we're dealing with. When evaluating cases as a jury, you have to look at who do I see as truthful sitting here in front of me. In the testimony they're giving to this court, not just listening to the words, but do I believe the words that are coming out of their mouth? Do I believe the story they're given? And I think each one of you to sit there and reflect on the testimony of Mr. Rainwater, you will see someone that is not consistent, someone that is not being truthful in their testimony of what they're giving to you in this court. I asked Mr. Rainwater several questions that I was seeking the answers. One of those was, did you ever strike my client? Did y'all have past fights? He was very vague on that. He kind of just really didn't remember. People remember when they have fights with someone. Every one of you could remember a fight you had in the past with another individual. And you clearly remember the number of times. For some reason, Mr. Rainwater does not remember that. When he was asked if he struck my client before this incident took place, he couldn't really give me a clear answer. He was very vague. He avoided the question. These are key points I want you to recall when you go back to this jury room to deliberate. I asked him what caused his fear. What led him to have the reaction, he had to run. But to say you have that large of a fear of bodily